budget for the upcoming fiscal year is continuing. We're joined now by Roanoke County Administrator Clay Goodman, who's been working with the Board of Supervisors and county staff to set priorities and make department cuts in attempt to set this balanced budget. Clay, thank you so much for sitting with us and providing an update. When you went to the Board of Supervisors, it's to get their input. What sort of priorities did they give you for trying to put together a balanced budget for this fiscal year?
We approached them in early December to ask them for guidance as we move forward with the work on the budget, and they set some basic criteria. One is there would be no tax increase, which was just recently enacted. We raised no tax rates currently on the books that we have with the county and so forth. The second thing was to mitigate, whatever the word would be, impacts on citizen services. The third thing was to not result in a layoff of employees and so forth, to minimize that to the best that we could do. And then finally they said, let's try to pull things together and make sure that we look out for the citizens who the board has constantly said is those who we work for.
And we're looking at a shortfall right now. It's still early. We're still working a lot of things out, but the shortfall that we've identified early on was about $5.9 million.
Yes.
And some of, naturally, some cuts then do have to be made by departments. What sort of things have they come to the board with?
Well, the cuts that we've been discussing with the departments and we presented to the board at a recent work session was, first thing was we had the police and fire and rescue departments to request additional staffing to help them to meet the needs of the growing number of calls and so forth, the pressures on the police, fire and rescue. And unfortunately, in the proposed budget, there would be no recommendation for any additional staff.
Okay.
And so we will not be able to do that. The second thing is we will be reducing people's operating budgets, which will have some very minor impacts to citizens. For example, in the library, we won't be replacing computers as quick as possible on the schedule and so forth. Should have minimal impact on the citizens, but could.
Right.
Another area that we're looking at is in general services. We're looking at the possibility of dropping what we currently call the freeloader service, and that is where a citizen can call in and rent either, or not rent, but ask to have the use of overnight or over the weekend so they can discharge or place debris in there and then we'll haul it away the next day. We presented that at a recent work session and the board asked us to go back and look at what we would do if we would charge for that. So we're working on that also. And then also in that regards, we're looking at the charges that we currently pick up for condos and HOAs. We've talked about not picking that up. And then finally, we have a service where Roanoke County residents can go to the Resource Authority and discharge trash, debris, whatever, by themselves at no charge. And we're looking at possibility of dropping that service. So those are some of the few of the items that we're looking at.
Right.
We're trying to minimize the impact on the citizens. We looked at services that was not used by everybody, but a smaller number of people, so that we try to mitigate the impact on citizens. But with a plan of looking at about 1.5 million reductions in the budget for respective departments, we felt like we could not meet that without some impact to citizens.
Well, it's April 2nd now while we're taping, and you have to present a draft budget, or you're scheduled to present a draft budget to the Board of Supervisors. How do you manage to do that with so much uncertainty on the state level? And if you would just kind of describe what's going on there and how that impacts the budget that you try to develop. Well,
currently we're facing a situation that the state has not adopted its budget. And I think Brent reported in last month's report that approximately 7 or 8% of our revenues are directly from the state government. So we're still working on that, and it has some impact on us, so we're waiting on that. The second thing is also they have increased expenses for us. And one specifically is VRS and the life insurance associated with VRS, and that's about $2.5 million in additional cost if we proceed with the current bills as we understand that have been adopted by the General Assembly. And most recently at the end of the session, there was an action where they would mandate that local governments would pass on the 5% that currently the governments pay for the employees, which we did back in the 80s to offset increases, our salary increases that we did not provide to the employees during the 80s, during those downturn times. So what they've come now with is they want the local governments to give the employees a 5% raise and have them pay the 5% toward VRS. There's also additional costs associated with that which including schools and us, is ranging from $500,000 to $1.2 million additional cost. So all this is being reviewed right now, and we're trying to figure out the puzzle
Yes,
and
it is.
pull it all together. And without the certainty of the state budget, it's a little bit more difficult. So we're going to have
Sure
to
is.
make some assumptions, make probably worst case scenarios, and then move forward.
And so you present the worst case scenario, and then afterward, the public has a chance to weigh in, but also they can go online, and we have a budget website, budget page, where people can also submit comments
Yes,
online.
we would ask citizens, we always place information as we present it to the board, we place it on our website. We would encourage our citizens to go to our website, review the information, and we have a mechanism on the website where they can give us information and guidance. We would encourage them to use that, to interact with us before the public hearing, so we can report back to the board the comments and so forth. And ultimately, we have to have the budget adopted no later than June 30th, but normally we adopt it by the second meeting in May with a normal schedule. But like I said earlier, this is not a
Nothing
typical
has been
year.
normal about this entire
Not
budget.
this budget process, no, ma'am. But, you know, we'll work with it, and we understand that the situation at the state, they're dealing with their own situations, and we all work together. At the end of the day, we all work for the citizens, and we'll pull things together the best we can to minimize the impact on citizens.
All right. Well, a lot of information to digest. Thank you very much, Clay. We appreciate it, and we encourage people to go to Roanoke County's website and look for the budget information page, because it has not only a mechanism for you to submit your comments, suggestions, ideas, but also has all of the budget information that we share with the Board of Supervisors there.
Yes, please go to our website, review the material. If you have any questions, we have information on there where you can contact us and forward your questions to us so we can respond to you immediately.
All right. Thank you, Clay. And stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back.